Hi everyone, my name is Kristen Kitt and I'm currently the coxswain of the Canadian Women's 8. I've won several international medals, very lucky to have won the Olympics, silver medal in Paris last year, and a bronze medal at the Paralympics. I'm also the only coxswain in the world to have won a medal at the Paralympics and the Olympics. And fun fact, I've got imposter syndrome. I definitely have always wanted to just be a part of the boat. I like to blend in. I'm actually also an introvert. Can you believe it? A coxswain who's an introvert? As a coxswain, my role is really about safety steering and keeping the crew moving together through my words. I don't have an oar. I don't have any way to physically make it go faster. So for me, I really have to have the trust of the crew and the belief of the crew to make magic happen. After the Paris Olympics, I thought I was going to go to school and take my required courses and get into veterinary school. My passion outside of rowing is animals. I love horses, I love big farm animals, and I love communicating with them. Not dissimilar to communicating with a women's 8. When I started taking these courses in the fall right after the Olympics, I went with a rowing mentality. I'm gonna study really hard, I'm gonna commit fully, I'm gonna do all the little things right. And day after day, I was failing. I really struggled with the readings. I struggled to get homework in on time. And the voice inside of my head started to get a little bit louder, a little bit louder. That voice was telling me, you can't do this. You're not enough. You're kind of a loser. That voice, I didn't realize it at the time, but that voice is what helped me or made me spiral. And as a coxie, those coxies out there watching this video, you'll know that you have to be the strong one. You have to be the one that isn't vulnerable. You're the rock for your 8 or 4 athletes. And that's how I felt in the fall after the Paris Olympics. I felt I needed to be the rock for the people around me supporting me in making a transition. And I mean, I've done all the career training programs. I've done internships. I've worked on the side. I've worked really hard to keep my identity separate and multifaceted outside of the coxswain seat. And I'm proud of that. But on reflection, I think in the fall when school wasn't going so well and I wasn't sticking to the plan of trying to get into veterinary school, I started to really panic and I really got worried that I might never do anything more than be an Olympic champion or be a Paralympic medalist. And I didn't talk to anybody about it. I didn't talk to my teammates who were my soul sisters. I didn't talk to my husband, who's the love of my life. And I didn't talk to those around me that have supported me every step of the way. On reflection, and after actually talking to some of my teammates, this is normal. And in that downward spiral, in shutting down, in closing off the communication, I really learned something new about myself. And I learned that I don't need to always look a certain way. I don't need to present myself a certain way. While I have had success in this beautiful sport, that success doesn't make me the person I am. It doesn't make me Kristen Kitt, something. I'm just Kristen Kitt. And so I did something kind of weird. In the spring, I went to my husband's dad's cattle farm, and I was on the farm for 2 months helping with calving. Now, as a coxswain, I don't have big arms. I've got kind of these chicken arms. I'm not really a farm worker, but I found ways to be myself on that farm. Coxswains were really decisive, were really good under pressure, and the things that this sport taught me about working hard and doubling down and not giving up actually helped me bring myself back to a place where I started to share my vulnerabilities with my husband, with a couple teammates, and with my coach. And I also had to change the thought process around potentially coming back to the sport. I didn't want to be one of those people that is a one-hit wonder, that only does rowing, that only coxes. That's actually one of my greatest fears. And it's kind of crazy that I'm sharing it with you today, but I am. I made a decision to be completely honest. On that farm, in working with those calves, in working with those cows, I was completely outside of my comfort zone. Learning how to drive a tractor with lots of big farm equipment is completely different than driving a 64-foot long carbon fiber shell. Same responsibilities, but totally different. In getting myself outside of my comfort zone from what was in my head, from my day-to-day, I did start to talk to people, and I did start to share that I'm scared things might not work out. I'm scared that I might not get into veterinary school. I'm scared I might not get what I want outside of my Olympic career. I have realized though that, and taken a little bit of pressure off myself, that that's okay. I'm starting to realize that in putting one step in front of the other, I can keep moving forward. My days aren't a waste. My days aren't a total scrap, even if I have had failures in those days. And I know it sounds really simple. I mean, it's the stuff that we do in the boat. It's the stuff that we talk about in a post-race debrief. But when you're on your own, when you're alone, when you are into a new territory, it's really hard to remember that we can lean into that stuff, that I can trust thinking about what I thought about in a boat, in a debrief. After my 2 months on the farm, I made a promise to myself. And I'm going to share it. And that promise was I would actually embrace every day and find one positive out of every day. Because for a few months, all I could think of were the negatives. All I could think of was, I'm not the person I want to be. I'm not living up to the dream I thought I wanted to have at this point in my life. So I made that promise to find one positive. And it was really hard at first. I would look in the mirror and I'd find all these new wrinkles and I would think, oh my gosh, you know, you're not at weight. You've put on all this weight and, you know, you don't look like a coxie anymore. And in those moments, I decided to pick one thing that I did like about myself. And for me, that one thing was that I was helping baby cows get born, which I love. Coming off the farm, I met with my coach and told him how I was feeling. And I shared the secret I'd been holding in me and I only talked to my husband about trying for one more Olympic cycle. And I've decided to take it 1 year at a time. And I've decided to actually take my own advice and remember that it doesn't have to be perfect to be my best. I'm sharing this with you guys today. I hope I can help at least one person. And the reason, my motivation from my heart to share it is because I was in my own head a lot. And I still am. I'm never going to get away from the imposter syndrome, but there's tools that we can use to, you know, manage that. And I want to encourage you in advance of World Mental Health Day on October 10th to access resources. Athlete 365 with the IOC has some fantastic resources. I also want to encourage you, this is my little, you know, goal for you, reach out and talk to one of your teammates. Talk to a coach and share one of your vulnerabilities. If it's in your mind that things are not going well for a few days, you're probably starting to get into a spiral. And for me, when I was starting to get into my spiral, I didn't know. I had no idea. It wasn't until I was deep down at the bottom pit of my spiral, I thought, oh, I'm not okay. So if you're starting to feel like your mind is chaotic, you're feeling like, you know, you don't belong, you're feeling like nothing you do is right, that's the time to take action. That's the time to name how you're feeling. So again, in spirit of World Mental Health Day, October 10th, I'm giving you guys, all coxswains, all rowers, all coaches, all athlete entourage, the goal, the competition, to be a little bit vulnerable and know that it's not going to change those people's perception of you around you. My team here at the Worlds knows about some of my vulnerabilities and they still back me. My coach still backs me. My husband still backs me. So it's gonna be okay if you show some of those vulnerabilities because it will make you stronger and more resilient and you'll have people linking arms around you.